And cross apply is basically cross apply or outer apply, similar thing, is a way of doing like a join to a function or to a subquery. And what happens when you join to a function or a subquery is that you're passing in some value from the outer query, and you're ended up like the same thing we run into with a correlated subquery. But what's different is that that may be going inside of a function, and a lot of the overhead there may be hidden when you're looking at the execution plan. So let's say you have a query that's selecting back 10,000 rows, and then you're using a cross apply to run some query against each one of those rows. Well, that cross apply is going to be run 10,000 times, whether the cross apply is a cross apply to a function or a cross apply to a subquery. It's a great feature to use if you know it's not going to be called on lots and lots of rows. The next thing that I see that happens with this is somebody will first do a cross apply. You have a select or a join from a table. From there, you go to cross apply. And then you take the result from that first cross apply and run it with another cross apply. So you're taking one query that may be running the first cross apply 10,000 times. And then for each row that comes out of that first cross apply, you're doing it 10,000 times n with the number of rows out of there being pumped into the second cross apply. And you may end up with some function or specific query that's part of that cross apply being run hundreds of thousands or millions of times. And no matter how performant you make that thing that's being called the cross apply, if it's being called too many times, it's going to rack up a lot of time. And you're going to wonder, why is your query slow? One of the common mistakes is to use it everywhere because it's super flexible. And if there's a way that you could do it with a simple join or a where clause, that's a better way to do things. So one of the reasons that this is a problem is that it really overcomplicates queries and can really bloat your execution plan to the point that parts of it are being run way more times than you would ever expect. Real world example, applying a function to every row when a filtered subquery or case statement would suffice. So think of it this way, that if you have a result set and you're using a cross apply to run some query or function against it, if there's another way to do the same thing with a case statement, or maybe as just a filtered subquery instead of that correlated subquery or correlated cross apply, that can really, really slow things down. Again, this is one of those that on a system I regularly work on, we're looking at a query that had 3 or 4 levels of cross apply deep. And it's just like doing multiplication on how long your query is going to run based on how long those subqueries run and how many rows are being considered in your result set. So basically, my recommendation is that you reserve cross apply for scenarios where you really need row by row function calls. Those should be very rare. There should be typically other ways to do it. And you should be able to compare what you would normally be doing with a cross apply to other ways of doing inner join or exist type queries in order to improve the overall speed and performance. Also, look at your SQL Server execution plan for that query and profile the query, and don't assume that the outer apply or cross apply is always the answer. Avoid it when you can. Quick tip, think of it this way. Cross apply is like a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. So you should use it precisely.
Thanks for watching. I'm Steve, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like it, please click the thumbs up icon. And if you want to subscribe, click subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notified when we have new videos. All right, have a great day.